Hello, how are you? Thank you everybody for coming. Friends, you know, I've been traveling around Alberta talking to your neighbors in small towns and big cities, and I have to say, we have an amazing province. Albertans are hardworking people who care about their communities. I've met young people who are excited to be entering the job market and building a life for themselves. And I've met people who are entering retirement after years of working and building opportunities for their kids and for their communities. And I've met a lot of people who are working hard to make ends meet, but are finding it more difficult these days. They are people just like you, and as I've said before, that's who this election is about. And I have to tell you, people here all across this province are taking a hard look at the Prentice government. They're seeing a party that has let them down time and time again. And now, when many of you and your neighbors are worried about jobs and the family budget, Jim Prentice wants you to shoulder the burden of the PC's failed priorities. They put corporate tax giveaways before your family budget. They put luxury golf courses and private jets before schools for our kids. And they hire more PR people for the Minister of Health, but cut money from hospitals. PC priorities are not your priorities, and as I've said before, they are absolutely not mine either. So when we hear Mr. Prentice saying we need to look in the mirror and we need to tighten our belts because we've had the best of everything until now, you and I know that's just not true. The hallways of our hospitals are crowded and with people who are waiting for care. Patients in rural communities are driving hundreds of kilometers every week to get dialysis, and those who can't are staying home and suffering. And every day, kids' surgeries at the Stollery Children's Hospital are being canceled because there aren't enough recovery beds. Now, a surgeon at that hospital told me that there just isn't anything left to cut, and that they're turning kids away every day. And here's the thing. A week after he told me that, the PC cabinet decided that they would cut another $1 billion from our healthcare system. And now, on the heels of that $1 billion cut, Mr. Prentice also wants you to pay an extra tax, a waiting room tax, for healthcare. But he's not going to offer shorter waiting times or better care, quite the opposite. They failed to invest in our healthcare in good times, and now they put it on the chopping block, and on top of that, they want you to pay more while getting less. Now, we're very fortunate in Alberta that Alberta is a growing province, it's a very young province. And I've talked to many young families who are getting ready to put their kids in school. Many of them are new to our province and they're building a life here. This September, 12,000 additional kids will be walking through the doors of Alberta schools. But the PCs say they're not going to hire a single new teacher for those 12,000 kids. They say that our strained education system will just have to make do. They're asking schools that are already stretched to their limits to do much more with much less. And they're saying to kids across Alberta, you're on your own. And they're saying to families, to the next generation, and to you, you're on your own. That's not leadership. This election, I want you to think about one thing. Who's standing up for you and who's in your corner? And my friends, I promise you that every single day I am elected, I am in your corner. I will always be here to fight for the things that matter. Yes! So to prove it, today is the day we lay out our detailed platform. A platform that sets out what our priorities are and how we'll pay for them. Let's start with the numbers. All three major parties running in this election agree we should balance the budget in 2017. And we all agree that this needs to be achieved by changing something. Where we don't agree is on what needs to be changed. The PCs and the Wild Rose want to cut your family's health care and your education. We want to cut the PC party's tax giveaways to large profitable corporations and to those who can afford to contribute a little bit more. Mr. Prentice calls that extremism, but I'll listen to Premier Peter Lougheed instead of Mr. Prentice on these issues. Like Mr. Lougheed, I believe that what we've set out today is a common sense approach. an approach that builds instead of tearing down. So let's talk about how we're going to build. Our platform is about jobs. Good, mortgage-paying jobs that will support your families. Jobs that will allow you to put your kids through school or apprenticeship training and that will allow you to retire with dignity. Which is why promoting good jobs here in Alberta is a priority for Alberta's New Democrats. Here in Alberta, not in Texas. Our platform is about honest, open government. Like getting big money out of politics so that people like Jim Prentice, who finance their campaigns by persuading Albertans to finance his party, instead of just persuading a long list of profitable corporations. And our platform is about universal, accessible, quality public health care. We want our healthcare system to be there for us when we need it. And our platform is about education. We want our schools to give our kids the opportunities they need. And our platform is about tax fairness, like asking large, profitable corporations and the top 10% of tax filers in Alberta to contribute a little bit more. Now, Jim Prentice says the last thing we should do is ask his well-off friends and corporations in their high towers, the people who did the best during the boom time, to contribute a little more to help see our province through these times. I say, ending giveaways to those who need them least and asking people and corporations to contribute based on their ability to pay is the right thing to do. Friends, Mr. Prentice's bad choices are why he deserves defeat in this election. We're offering better ones. I'm running because it's time for a real alternative to the PCs. We will ensure that every single one of us shares in our prosperity. We will respect your vote and keep our promises. We will show leadership on the things that matter: education, healthcare, jobs. From day one, New Democrats will put you first. Thank you. So I believe I'm open for some questions.
On the question of your corporate tax changes, Ms. Notley, you're proposing these changes at a time when a lot of companies, corporations are actually laying people off. Mr. Prentice noted yesterday that the first 3 months of the year, there have been 50,000 job losses in the province. Are you concerned that your changes, your proposed changes to the corporate tax rate will exacerbate the joblessness, the cuts in terms of layoffs and that sort of thing?
My concern is that Jim Prentice's plan is the one that's going to exacerbate the problems. Jim Prentice is planning to take $1 billion out of our health care. That's going to hurt our economy. He's planning to starve our school system. That's going to hurt our economy. His plan actually includes thousands of job losses built right into it. Our plan is the only plan of the three major parties that actually talks about job creation, because we care about that. And so I'm confident that this is the balanced, measured approach that is necessary to promote job creation in Alberta while protecting our healthcare, our education, and our quality of life in this province.
Do you think that Mr. Prentice should be scared of you now that you have a new platform?
Well, I do think he's lost a talking point because I'm very proud of this platform. It's measured, it's balanced, it's costed. It's a reasonable, sensible approach to dealing with the problems that we find ourselves in. Problems, of course, created by the fiscal irresponsibility of the Prentice PCs. But notwithstanding that, this is a reasonable approach forward. We've costed it out. It's sensible. It's modest, and I think that it will do a good job ensuring that the interests and the opinions of Albertans are heard and respected.
Rachel,